feel free to speak, guys.
Yes, Karan, we are okay. We are comfortable with the Blue Prism.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, if anything you wanted to understand from the live perspective, how the things are working, you can always discuss because no, it will give you perspective. So to think broad manner, like what we can do further.
okay.
Yeah. So I
So,
think
Karan, one of
like all of you guys, like I mean, are you guys like trying to shift into into RPA world, or like you wanted to shift internally into your company? How is this the things are? Like Venkatesh, about you, like you are trying to shift internally in your company, or you are trying to look
yes,
outside?
planning to shift internally only because currently we are going RPA with a nice tool, nice RPA.
Nice tool, yeah, nice tool. Actually,
Yes,
I have heard like a nice tool is coming up very fast also, and many people are now going to
yes,
look
but we are
nice.
facing more problems in the nice tool.
Oh,
So,
okay, yeah.
so
Yeah,
that's
but
why.
very few people are
Yes,
like right now no nice tool. So I mean, I have also heard about it. I didn't got a chance to work on it, but yeah, there are a couple of requirement in market also for nice tool. So yeah, but Blue Prism is like I know like almost every company is working on, and obviously there are some on UI path, and because every company's so I mean you as you are you guys are already implemented, so right, I mean in your company also like they must be have created a COE, right, for RPA.
yes,
And
yes.
yeah, and so you have people from they're trying to build the competency accordingly, right? So it will be good, like for you, I mean try to I mean differentiate between two tool capability and what not we can do through it, right?
Yes. That's what
Yeah,
we have to compare that one.
yeah,
Okay. So another thing, Karan, so I'm planning to do the certification also.
yeah.
So what is
Certification
the
is
basic?
good. So I mean, see, for certification, if you can create your corporate, I mean, you can log into Blue Prism, and you can create. So if you go here, portal.blueprism, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I mean, there is multiple way through you can log into Blue, I mean, portal account, and
Okay.
you can create your basically ID. Once you created your
Okay.
ID, you can create using your personal ID also, and you can create. So I will prefer to create using company ID, right? So once you created
Uh,
your profile using company ID, then
okay.
you'll have access to almost all those. There are a couple of PDFs are there. There are links are there, and then you can go to Prometric, and you can create. You can always write the exam, even if your company is Blue Prism partner or not, right? Previously, till last year, only the partner companies like Capgemini, Accenture, and all like IBM, they are only like allowed to give the exam. But now anyone can give
Okay.
the exam. Yeah,
Uh,
I think in India, I'm not sure. I think 5,000, 6,000 should be certification costs should be there. It's not that
okay.
costly. Yeah.
Anywhere can we take the mock exam like that? The sample test mock exam.
Yeah, sample test you can take. I have some like mock PDF, but even I'd like I mean, I don't have something like latest, because what happened last year, it was more kind of you can write the exam from your company itself. People have written all those
Okay.
people, and yeah, and then some people get create like I mean, many people they just want to get certified. They create dumps and all, but now the things have changed. Now they have everything in Prometric Center. So they actually ask you, I mean, see, they ask you small question only, but they ask a
Okay.
conceptual question. I mean, they give you some scenario, and you just have
Okay.
to understand and just select from multiple choice. It's a 60 question,
Oh,
and 60 minute, and you have to answer 70% to
is it?
pass.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that should not be problem once you pretty much go through all the concept. So one is like whatever we have taken right from the process studio, the uses of various stages, and in Object Studio, what all those everything like input, output, and all those things that we have taken, queue management and exception handling. So they will be wait like time and wait concept. So what I will do, I have some PDFs are there. So maybe
Okay.
after like in the last of this class session next week, I will try to we will try to discuss among ourselves. Let's see how much confidence that you get. But I will say like once like now you must be feeling little comfortable with Blue Prism. I will say practice more, you know give yourself some time and keep learning it. And then once I think after 1 month you are good to write certification exam.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. How about other guys? Anil, Aruna, Sharan, Hari?
Hi, Karan. Hari here.
Hey Hari,
Uh,
so how about you? How are you
I
looking
am
like
okay.
in
Okay with
outside
it.
or okay? So are
I am
you
looking
looking to
outside, Karan.
shift in?
Actually,
Okay, yeah.
my my background is testing, right? So I don't
Yeah,
get
yeah.
offers here in my company. So I like
Right,
to
right, right.
jump to another company. Uh,
Right.
so
That's good
I am facing
actually.
some
Yeah.
difficulty in. Uh, so you are moving. Sometimes you are moving so fast, so that I am unable to
No problem, Hari.
get those points.
What
So
we will do anyway. Next week, what we will do, we will try to incorporate because of the first thing. Let's cover everything. Okay. So now once we know that we have covered everything, now if we have doubt in this particular section that you feel like you practice and you feel, then what we can say like we will do it from scratch. I mean, we'll again do it, redo it, and see what problem that you are facing there. Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
Karan.
Yeah. And I feel like once you will do a consolidation exercise, in
Okay.
that since you will be using the right, at least I will say uh, 80% of the things that we have pretty much covered, and that pretty much you will be using in the Blue Prism. So I mean, once you understand end-to-end things, how to build it, uh, you will be comfortable. And see, Blue Prism always provide you with their objects, right? What I'm trying to say, there can be some scenario which you feel it will come on everyday life when you will be start working on it. But if you are trying for outside, like you are giving interview, the examiner will know, like the person who is taking your interview will not go and out you something out of like box and something like that. He will try to judge you on the basic concept first, right? So the intention is to have your
Yes.
basic concept cleared. Now let's say if I get some different scenario, I've never seen it. So in that case, Blue Prism provide you with the object collections, and there are many objects Blue Prism provide, and many company create their own internal objects to support many things, so that that anything that we have not seen across, not come across, can be taken care. So once you know like how to use that object efficiently, it like it's very easy.
Okay, Karan.
Yeah. How about other guys, like others are comfortable, or how is
Yeah, Karan, we are comfortable with this Blue Prism mode.
Hey Lakshman, yeah, you were speaking something.
Yeah, we are feeling good enough to handle this Blue Prism now, as of now, what you have
Yeah,
taught us.
yeah, 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 yeah. And I think with this when we go through some consolidation exercise start, then I think you'll get more idea.
Yeah, sure.
And
Yeah,
I will prefer like
Karan.
you do it from your end. So I will give you the scenario for this consolidation exercise, and you start doing from your end in the upcoming weekend. And then once we will start taking it, then when we'll discuss it, then you'll have more idea. Because I can start building it from scratch, but once you have at least try it from your end, then you'll get better idea, you'll get connected, and why we are doing this and what we should do in these scenarios. Maybe you can come up with some better yeah, scenario, I mean solution, so that way it will be good. How about you, Aruna? Are you good?
Yes, Karan. So far good. And till that Blue Prism travel website you created, right? Even I practiced till that page,
Oh, great.
but I didn't get time to work on that exception
No
handling.
problem.
After that, I didn't get
Yeah,
a chance to work on that.
no problem.
So
You
otherwise,
can maybe try in weekend, so you'll get time.
yeah,
So yeah, just
yeah,
play around. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean that's what, like, once we'll go through some more exercises, you'll feel more comfortable. So that's fine. So what we will do today, let's go into work queue again. There are some more scenario using the same exercise I will try to take and make it more clear. So let us start with it. So we have the same process, right, that we have created for this travel portal. So here the first thing what I'm trying to do is, let's say I have a file here in this. So I have this request coming, and what I wanted to do, I wanted to add one reference number and total cost. Now, right now I'm just taking, this 2 entry only, just to understand the concept, and then probably we'll have like 50 entry, and then let's see how much, how much time it take to complete, and compare when you're doing it manually. So you got this, sheet from your organization, and you wanted to go through this portal site, log in every detail of it, and then whatever reference numbers get generated, you have to, copy here, get the total cost here, and save the Excel sheet. So just let's try to do it. But here right now I won't be doing it, this part. What I will say, you guys try it from your end, try to create, I mean generate the reference number and total cost, and print it here. What I will do here is to show you how we can use this in work queue, right? So that's my intention. So let's say what we will do first. So first we already have this subpages created where we are going and reading the Excel file. Okay, one question here. So uh, why, like, I mean, should we use the loop thing when we are working with work queue? Like, can anyone tell me, like, should we required to work with loop when we are working with work queues? Because we have to read the data, right? I mean there is 2 record for now, but so I mean, do you need a loop to go and read every record? I mean, just any random guess, whatever you feel, just speak up.
No, actually, it is not required because when you create in work queue, if 100 rows are there, 100 work queue lines will create it. For each and every line, it will
Great,
create one line.
great. Yeah, so your concept is clear for work queue. So I mean, that is how this need sorry that is how it need to be worked on. So for whatever the main, so why we have created this I mean loop and all before, because we didn't work on work queue. We were just getting all this data to Blue Prism, and to get that data to Blue Prism, so you will in real life, you'll be getting a Excel sheet. You can get a comma separated file, a text file, like any other type of file, XML file. Even you can get I'm just giving you example, like, it's not mandatory that you'll always get a Excel file. You can get a file in, I mean, you can get data in form of JSON. If you have any web service build, and you just call that web service and get the data. But the things will remain same. The main thing is, what you are trying to do, you are trying to get the data from the output file to Blue Prism. Now in Blue Prism, where are you getting it? In collection. So once you have data in collection, you can do anything. So when we have not discussed work queue, what we were doing it is storing it into the collection, and in collection, I mean whatever rows that we have created, we were looping into each and every row. But now since we don't like we don't require the this thing to be added looping through collection, we are adding to work queues. So if you go into the control room, uh, we have different work queues, right? I mean, you can create your different queues. How you create queue? You go in system and you have a tab called work queue. Here is work queue column, and you can add different queues that you wanted to handle by your process. Now let's say I have one queue which I want to be handled by my process, and this is called travel quote. So and so you can accordingly create different queues for which you wanted your process to be handled. So this is where you go and do it. And apart from this, yeah, so if you come again to the control, if you come again to the control panel, now what you see here is like here is the queue management. So once you click on the queue like travel quote, so you see like here you will get all those items that you wanted to work on. So here basically if you see, this is called item key. So what is item key for the particular queue represent? So item key is nothing but it is a unique value. So here let's say if you open this particular Excel sheet, and so guys remember, like why we need this particular queue content here. I mean, what is the meaning of this particular section? So see, the thing is, when you are working on 50 item, right, out of 50, 40 can complete successfully. Let's say 10 comes in exception. Now we already talked about what is exception. If any type of problem happen in your automated process, it will come to exception. I mean, it will come in the queue as an exception. Now, once it is there in exception, someone has to go there and work on it manually, right? After you have tried to again execute it and again it failed, then obviously you have to go here and again work on it. So this section will show you all the item with completed and exception, and you like it, like basically who used to see this is nothing but like the process owners. So there will be other team who will be just doing the monitoring for the particular automation, I mean automated process, and their work will be to go every morning and recover work on the exception queues item datas. So here if you see the first column is item key. So what is the meaning of item key? So item key represent the unique data in this particular row. So what you can say, like it's up to you to decide on what is the unique data in this particular row. So for me, let's say I just decide that last name is the unique data for this particular row. Then how to do it, like how, so this item key will represent, if I just define this last name as item key, the last name will be will show in your the key items. So when you go here, you can easily identify which row has which row has problem. Then here is a priority, that what is the priority of the item. So you have the option to define the priority also. It is nothing but a status, it's completed or exception. It is tags. So tag is nothing but we'll be taking all this in detail, but just for your understanding, tag is, we are just tagging based on some unique value. Let's say I want to tag this queue with the last name or with the email ID. So in the tag, email will come. So with the email, this particular item is tagged. So resource is nothing but which bot has work on it. So right now, since I have only one bot, so this bot will work one by one on each item. Now if you will have multiple bot, then what happens? So first bot, let's say, lock the first item. So once the bot lock the item, other bot cannot work on it. So other bot will go and pick the other item. Then other bot will go and pick the other item. Now let's say if instead of doing this, if you will be doing it manually, I mean not manually also, like if you even if you're doing it one by one, what would happen? So for every row, let's say you take 5 seconds. So for completing 10,000 row, or I mean more rows, just imagine how much time it will take. That's why you assign items to the work queue. So mini bots which is there in your environment can start picking the item randomly and start working on it. So in that, by doing this, you can reduce the number of cycle time, or the time of execution. So that is why we use work queues. Here is number of attempts. So let's say you first tried and it failed, and then you again wanted to retry it. So here it will show you number of attempt is 2 or 3 accordingly. It is nothing but created. What is the date created? What is the last update date is? Completed time, total work time, and then this is exception date and what is the exception reason. So whatever exception region that you have captured there, it will be showcased in this particular heading. Now let's go here and just save it. So what we will try to just try to do this thing. We'll try to see, I mean, how we can first retrieve the data and add into queue. Once we have added into queue, how we pick each and every item one by one, and then as we pick and as we work on it, how we mark them as a complete or how we mark them as an exception, how we retry it based on exception. So we'll just try to see all this thing. So let's say first thing is we have read the data from the file, right? Now once you have read the data, okay, before that, what we can do, so all this operation that you are doing, right? So let's cut this everything. Yeah, paste it here. So I'm just trying to make the process simple, look simple and easy to understand, because once you have everything in main page, you just mess up. So the first thing is what we are trying to do. We are going to start and we are just reading the data. So once we have read the data, what we are doing it, we are getting the data as a collection, and where we are storing it in the travel collection. Okay, so this travel collection will get all the data in it. So first let's do till this end, see what is the result. Just a minute. Just keep yourself in mute, so there should be no sound disturbance. Okay, so see, first we have received the data in the travel collection. So I have received all the values here, pretty much everything. Now these two rows are blank, right? And I have given you assignment to get the data and put it here. So you have to think how you'll do it. Meanwhile, just see. So first, now we have got the data. So what we will do next, we will first add all the data which is part of the collection travel empty travel into the work queue. So just gives name add to. So for that, you are provided with a business object called work queue, which is an internal business object. And once you go here, there is an action called add to queue. Now here it will ask the queue name, which queue you want to add, right? So you have to define the specific queue name. So you have to go to in control panel, or yeah, you can go to your system. You just see which is the queue in which you wanted to append the data. So this is a travel code. So just take this. This is a text, so you have to give in double quotes. Yeah. Now, from where you are getting this, I mean, from which collection you are adding it. So you have to define that. So let's say there's a travel collection through which, like once you have the data in travel collection and then you are adding to the travel code queue, work queue. And for now, just let output be blank. So this is the one thing. So first let's connect this thing, connect end, and let's say what is your result. Okay, now see, you don't have anything in your travel code. You cannot delete anything, you have to mark exception, then only you can actually delete it. Select everything and delete. Refresh, yeah. And system, okay, yeah, I don't have anything. Travel code, yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you about this maximum option. For now, I'm just keeping it at 1. Okay. Now let me run this process first and see what's the output. Okay. Now go to the control room and click on your travel code queue. So you see like all the 2 items which we have decided to add to the work queue got displayed here. Now the 3 dots that you are seeing here is nothing but this show you the status of this particular item. So once you bring your mouse near to it, it show you pending. So 3 dot means pending. A green check is completed and a violet flag is exception. So that is the only 3 state that you will see here. And then accordingly, if you go down, you see the resource, number of attempt, creation date, last updated, work time and all. Okay. Now you have got added, you have added all the data which was there in your Excel sheet to the collection, and from collection you have added to queue. Now you are good to go because now you have everything in Blue Prism. You don't, even if you lose your Excel sheet, you don't have to bother. So every data is now in Blue Prism in your work queue. Now once you have added it, how you will fetch one item from the queue, because you have to work on it, right? So for that, there is one more action as part of work queue object provided by Blue Prism, which we call as get next item. Yeah. So again, queue name is you can give. Let me again copy it. Travel code, right? Get next item. Okay, yeah. So put it in double quote. So what you are trying to do here is basically you are getting a single row from the work queue and putting it in your process, like you start working on it. So this is the action is there, get next item, and you have to define your queue name. And when you go in output, what output it generate? So as soon as you pick one item, what happen, and when it bring that item to Blue Prism, it assign a item ID, which is a unique ID which get assigned to that particular row in the work queue. Because once you have started working on the item, that item need to be very, very specific. A very unique key identity is the item ID to understand, you know, which item you have worked on and what you have did with that item. Either it got completed or it's an exception, and what happened with that. So for that you have to have your item ID. So let's say if I have item ID, I just bring it here. Okay, and then after this item ID, so just imagine this particular row which is there in, let me just press OK. So this particular row which is there in travel code. Yeah, this particular item. Yeah, so every row is known as one item. So this particular item, if you see, right, we have, once we take into Blue Prism, we assign an item ID to it. And also this all this particular the data of this particular row, we have to save the data somewhere, right? Because this represent one row of a Excel sheet or collection. So we have to add this into a new collection. So that's what this particular action used to do it. So just rename it next item. And then if you go in output, you have to define a new collection where this all the data will get saved. So let's say, I have one collection already. I can just bring it here, data, and all the data which you are taking from the work queue to work on will get saved into data collection. Now let's see till here, like, what's happening. What we will do first, we will go and delete this two item, because it will again append it, right, when we run the process again. Now we don't have anything. Okay, now what we will do, we will just add a breakpoint here. So we will see what happens. So let it the process run till add to queue stage. Okay, now once we go here in control panel and refresh it, we see that these two rows displayed here. Now just a step from here, see what happens. Okay, so once you go and refresh it, you see that a lock has been applied on this particular item. It means that someone has started working on it. I mean, the resource which is assigned to this particular item has started working on it. So now nobody can go and unlock it and work on it. It got locked by particular robo and it started working on it. And if you go here in your process, you will see that a very specific item ID which is very unique got created, and the same the new collection that we have created, in the current value, all the values that you have got appended here in the new row. Okay, so that's how, I mean, once you have the value here and the data here, you can start working on it. Now once you have get next item and you have worked on one row, how you will pick the data from the remaining rows which are there, because you just picked up from the first row, right? So for that, what we will do now, let's see. Let me refresh it first and remove the breakpoint. Now we have something called item ID, right? So every time if you have anything in the queue and we go and here we just say that get next item. So as soon as we say that get next item, if there will be any item in the queue, an item ID will be assigned to it, right? So if we add a decision here, just understand this. So if we add a decision here saying that if there's item ID is not equal to blank, so whatever item ID that I have, I'm getting it from this particular row, and this is we are getting from get next item. So let's say if there is no row here, what happened when it will come to get next item stage and we ask for assign some item ID, the item ID will be blank. So in that case, my process will know that I have reached to the end of the queue and I need to end it. I need to end my process. So that is why we are writing the decision state. So what we can do, we can bring the item ID and just say that not equal to blank. Any pending item. So let me just take it. Yeah. Let me just link it to here. Now, there's one more thing. I mean, what happened if there is if this condition is not satisfied? So this says that item ID is not equal to blank. So it means that there are still some rows to be worked on. Then in that case, what you have to do is you have to call the particular page again. So let add one page here. Let me add it here. Okay. Now as soon as you add it, you get this thing and then you select code page. So if item ID is not blank, then go and call code. Okay. And if item ID is blank, then what you will do? That you have to decide on. I mean, obviously for now you just say that go and end the process. Now here, what you are going to do, basically you are going to loop in us. I mean, so if for first item you go here, it comes here, is asked for item ID is equal to blank or not. It says that no, item ID is not blank. It go and call this particular page. This page get executed. What next? Now it will go again and it will just again ask like add to queue. Sorry, I mean it will go again and it will ask get next item. If there will be next item, it will again added to the collection and we can start working on it. If there is no next item, the item ID will be blank and it will come here and will ask, then say process will get end. So let me to do that, what we can do, let me just bring the anchor state here and let me just put the links. So you cannot put the link directly. Okay. Bring the anchor state here. Now link it. So what I'm saying that first add to queue, then get next item. Next item is not blank. They still go and take the code and keep on working on. So first, let me just add a breakpoint here, or just let me add a, okay, let me add it here. Yeah, it would be good. Let me start the process, see what happens. Okay, all right. Now my process, the first execution got completed, and if you go here and refresh it, you see that there is a exception has been added. I mean, the first item got locked here, which is just now. So yeah, no. So yeah. So what I'm trying to say, the first item has been worked on. Let me first delete all the item. It's getting confusing here. Let me first refresh this page again, and let me just delete everything. Okay. Let me run it. Okay. Refresh it. Okay, so see, till now what happened, it is now just moving into the first loop only. So it got the first item, it started working on it, so the lock is there. Now what happened if you say next, it is again going, it is trying to check now if there is any next item or not. See, for now there is already an item ID which we have already worked on, and the data, if you see in here, Sydney is already inserted for the first row. Now again, if you go next, see the item ID got changed, and if you go here, Sue got added. So that's how, I mean, now the next item got picked here. If you go and refresh it, you see the log has been added on the second item. Like second item will be worked on. Now if you just click yes, second item has also been worked on. Now if you go and click next, get next item. Now do you think there will be next item? There is no next item. Now what will happen? This item ID will be blank. So see, item ID is blank, data is empty. If you say next, the process completed. So that is how you build this particular this loop to work on each and every item in your queue. So every item in the queue will be worked accordingly. So till now, is it clear to you guys?
Karan, I have one question here.
Sure.
So this in work queue, you're saying that we will have each record. Let's say in Excel sheet we have 10 records. So in work queue, you'll get 10 transactions whether it's done or not.
10
right?
items. 10 items. Yeah. Or
So
you say,
if-
see, you can say it as an item. You can say as a case, whatever that you want you to say. You can say case or items. Yeah.
let's say you have 10,000 records, and you'll have 10,000 cases like that showing in work queue.
Yeah, so see, I mean, in that case, what you have to do, so this is up to the decision of, your team, that you wanted to handle everything in a single queue, or you wanted to handle the item, in a different, how you are doing the queue management, right? So the two options are there. Either you divide the 10,000 into different Excel sheet and do it, right? Let's say you have 10,000 data and you don't want it to, add 10,000 into a single Excel file. Instead of that, what you can do, maybe you can divide into 2-3 Excel file and do it, or you divide into different queues, right? So it's up to you, but however you divide it, or you design your solution, these things will be worked accordingly.
Okay.
But
So
for sure,
we can,
if there is 10,000 data in the Excel sheet, you are going to have 10,000 row in your work queue also. But the 10,000 won't be under the single queue. It can be also in
okay.
different queue. But yeah, for 10,000 every single transaction, obviously you will have a row here in your queue. That's for sure.
So for example, I have to generate 10 Excel sheets, Excel workbooks with each sheet in it. Okay. So each Excel file is a output that comes based on the process that we have created. So in
Okay.
each workbook, I have 10,000 rows. So can I
Right.
see work queue as, I want to see work queue only for one workbook, not at each case level, because I want to know, okay, my first workbook is done, completed, it's loaded. Whether it, that way we can check.
Yeah. So the main thing is, once you have data in your work queue, right? I mean, whatever data that you have in work queue, and I mean, sorry, in Excel sheet, and once you have added all the data into the Excel sheet, right, to the Blue Prism through collection, and then from collection to the work queue, right? Now, once you have everything in Blue Prism in your work queue, you can track each and everything. That's what I told you initially. Then everything can be tracked down, and you can define the status as a complete. I will show you now. Like till now, I have shown like how you can work on each and every item, but now you can, based on the status, completed and queue, like exception, you can define, I mean, which all item has been marked completed in your all the item, and you can actually track down every item, so none of the item will be missed.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so far I hope it should be clear. So here we have got, like, we pick each and everything and started working on it. Now what we can do here is, once we have worked on one item, right, we can mark it as a complete also. So let's say what we can do here, uh, we can bring one action and just give it a name, mark complete. So there is one action here, say mark complete. So what you have to define, nothing but item ID, you have to just give it, and there's no output. So with this, it will define the status of your item as completed. Just connect this. Let's refresh it. So now what is happening here, if you see, once you have picked an item and you have worked on your code, once it's successfully worked on, it will go again and basically take the other item, and I mean, before taking the other item, it will first mark it as a complete. So let's run it here. So before, just break a big point here instead of here, see what happens. And before that, let me first delete this too. Yeah. So let's go here and show there's nothing more here. Yeah. So let me just run this process. Okay. Now, okay, go here, just refresh it. So now see the lock is there, right? I have worked on this particular item, although, okay, and I just wanted to complete it. So let's go and step over. So once I step over, once you go here and refresh it, you see the status get completed. This case was successfully completed on so and so date. Once you go here, it give you the completed date time. So that is how you make your process completed. Okay. And once again, you just run the process from here. Okay. Again, you just step into it. You go here. There is nothing. So this second item is also got completed. So completed date will be mentioned here. So both the item got completed now and the process will come to end. So I hope I have answered your question that you have asked. So I mean, how you will understand and how you track it. So at least just, yeah. So this two item got completed and it have worked on. Now, one thing that you must have observed that, so in last once process got completed, obviously you need to save the data somewhere and you need to finally put into your, the output that you are getting into some collection, right? I mean, some Excel sheet, right? Let's say the reference number. But here you are not getting that thing because every time the data is coming, it is just giving you the current value. And after that, it's just, is erasing the value because it's just holding the current item which it's working on. It is not preserving the value. It is just putting the value which you have worked on and then keep moving on. Now, how you will be because you wanted to preserve the value, right? So that is why, because in last when you go after your end stage, when there is no item, you wanted to send the data to Excel file and save it. But if you don't have any data in your collection, how you'll save it? So for that, what you can do, you need to add the data from this collection to some other collection. Okay, so let's create one more collection and give it a name, copy data, just anything like that. And what we can do, where we should add it. Okay, so once we have worked on it and we have marked as complete, then let's add this thing. Okay, so let me just delete this thing. Okay, let me bring this down. Okay, yeah, so let me bring the action stage here. So once I have worked on this mark completed action, I wanted to add the data which is there in data collection into a new collection which is copy data collection. Okay, so for copying it, what is the business object we are provided with is, so there is utility collection manipulation that you must have seen, right? So if you go here, there is action called append rows to collection. We have used this yesterday also. So this will add the row from the source to destination. So this is your source file. Main collection is your source, and from this is your, sorry, main collection is your destination, and this is your source from where you'll be adding it. So this is yeah. So this is your destination copy data, and collection to append from which you are going to add is data. When you go in output is nothing but the combined collection. So combined collection, obviously you wanted to in copy data collection. So let's add it and just link it. Yeah. Okay. Now refresh it and just run your process again. See what happens. Okay, so your process got completed, right? And once you go here in your data, it's empty. There's nothing. But once you go here in your copy data, the value will all be get appended here. Once you have the value, what you can do? So basically here you can add the value from your collection to Excel sheet, right? So once you come out of this process, you can do those things, save Excel sheet, close the Excel sheet and all. So that is something you just try from your end and try to see how efficiently you can able to do it. Okay, so let's take it apart from, because here in the copy data only, like once you have this reference number and this thing total price get added, you will be able to basically, once you have captured everything in your copy data, from there only you will be going to add in your Excel sheet, right? So that's the main thing. So just try from your end, try to do it, see how that works.
Hi
Okay,
Karan, small doubt.
yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, like we are processing. Let's take a case in which we are processing around 100 records. Okay, like 100, we need to create 100 queries. Okay, and in that, if the 40th record has some error, so can we skip that? Like it will be raising an exception, right? Can we skip that record and can we do the other 99?
Yeah, pretty much we'll be doing that. So once you have exception in one record, right? So just
Yeah.
understand here how these things work. It's not dependent on any other of, so all the record that you have added here, right? None of the record is dependent on any other item. I mean, these are all independent item. So every time it go and keep working on, if you got error in this row, right? So it will, instead of complete, you will mark it as exception. Okay. And then you will pick the
Yeah.
next row, next item, and then you start working on it.
Yeah.
So you keep
Okay.
on doing it. Yeah, see, just understand, even if you get an exception in this particular row, based on our condition, what we are asking here is any pending item is there. How we are deciding it? Based on item ID. So every time you get a next item action, is generate an item ID here. So if there won't be any item to work on, there won't be any item ID and process will complete to end. But there is any item ID, it will pick that item from here and start working on it. So even if the last item go into exception, it will just mark it as exception instead of complete and go from there. Okay, it won't bother about
Yeah.
what happened to hit. Yeah, like that. So that's how it works. Now we have seen this complete thing. Before that, moving to that, one more thing that I wanted to tell. So if you go into the system and work queue, if in this, let's say you have travel code queue, so here there is a key name. So what you can do, you can define a key name here. So let's say I just take last name as a key name here. So my last name here, I just define as a key name. So I'll tell you how this will differentiate the process. So once you have this last name as key name and apply, go to control room, and here what's that? Let me just first bring the travel code. Okay, travel code is here. Let me delete all these things. Okay, yeah. So yeah, let me just run this process again, see what happens, then you'll understand it. Okay, yeah. Okay, now once you go here and come, just refresh it. So you see the unique, I told you what is item key is nothing but the unique item of the particular the row. So we have selected last name as a unique key. So in item key, it will reflect the last name. So it is up to you that what you want to reflect it, and whatever you want to reflect it, you have to go in your system and work you, and just in item column you have to define that. So accordingly it will start reflecting that. So now you see you can easily identify which item belong to which row and all. So you can identify which item is completed, which item has not completed. It's very useful thing. Okay, now we will take one more example. I mean, what we are doing right now is just marking as a complete. Let's say if there is any exception, then what we wanted to do with that. So what we can do, okay, let me just bring these two stages a little closer. Okay, just bring it here. And then what we can do, let's say if I have some exception, so just let's say I deliberately add some exception here. So what we can do, I mean, just okay, go to code stage. So go in code, just see the business object here. So here what I'll do, I'll just change the code reference, right? I mean, just code reference, I'll just change the match item so that this get failed, it generates some exception. So instead of div1, I'll just give div2 and just then click OK and just save the value. Okay, see what happens here. Yeah, now what will happen when it will go to the code stage, it will generate an exception, right? So how we will handle that exception? So for that, see what we will do it. Yeah, just bring it here. Now if there will be any exception, the first thing that I told you, there will be a recover state to recover that exception, right? And you can have a block stage which say that where the exception occurred. So this block will work in this particular area. So any exception occurred in the code page, it will be recovered by this recovered stage. And then you can also capture the exception into a calculation block. Say exception. And then you can define, let's say I have value here AD. And here is an exception detail. You can bring here. So, okay, you got your exception and then you wanted to diffuse the exception before moving. So let me first connect these stages. Okay, you have to have this thing, right? All right. What we can do here is we can bring an anchor stage, or let me not bring the anchor stage. Let me connect this to recovery stage.
Generally, we don't need to connect it to recover.
No, you don't have to connect to recovery state. That's what Yeah. So recovery stage is not not required to be connected from any other stage. You just because recovery stage is just catching the exception generated by the particular pages and all. So here, if you see from here, from the code stage, you was going to the just keep this. Yeah, so this is good. So now what do you want to do is, like, once you have captured the exception here, what you wanted to do main. So I wanted to again go here and mark as exception. So again I will use a work queue and mark exception, right? So you can take your item ID and you can define your exception reason, whatever reason that say item is not valid. Okay, and just make it, just leave that output as blank only. So yeah. Now what will happen, like once there is exception, it will captured by the recover stage, and based on that it will capture the exception, store here, and then you mark is you mark exception. Now what you want to do again is just bring everything little down. Okay, just adjust this. Yeah, so and just link this stage here. So once you have marked the exception, you again go and get the next item from here. Okay, so let me run this process, see what happens. Before that, what we can do, we can go here and yeah, okay, this is just a warning. So let me just put a breakpoint here, then we will able to see what is happening. Okay, so there is exception raised by this particular stage, and because of this exception it captured by this recover stage. Okay, now once exception has been captured, what we can do, you are going and capturing the value in the particular ed variable, so it got captured. Now if you go here, okay, if you go here and just refresh this, right, so see this two stage, we are working on the first item, right? Now what I'm doing, I'm marking as exception. So once you go and refresh it, see it mark is exception. This case must be processed manually. It was marked with an exception with a message item is not valid. So whatever the message that I have supplied there in the stage, it will be captured here, item is not valid, and it will mark as exception. If again you move on, again it captured the exception, and then you go here, second item is also marked as exception. So that is how you will be marking the item as exception and keep working on. So the item can be true or false, and accordingly, process will keep moving on. It will marking as a complete or marking as an exception. Okay, is this clear to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here, see, there's two things which also got used. So exception handling, how you will be handling the exception, because till now we have seen if exception happen what you will do, but the main thing is how you are handling it. So this is how you used to handle it, in an efficient way. So there's no like work queue concept and exception handling concept will get clear in this particular example. And after this, yeah, So there is one more thing. Let's say if this exception happened, what do you wanted to do? Do you again want to retry it, or you just want to leave it? But you say no, I want to retry it again. So there is one more option provided by Blue Prism. So if you see, you go here in your work queue. If you go in travel code, here you have an option called maximum attempts. So if I say 2, so it means that it will attempt 2 times before getting failed. Okay. So what it will do, let's say one time if it get failed, any item one time it get failed here. If you go to travel code, yeah, if one item got failed here and the attempt was 1, so what it will happen, because of this setting, it will again create a replica of this item. Okay, so again this item will be added in a pending state with the attempt 2. Attempt will get incremented to 2. So again you wanted to reattempt it, right? So that is how there is an option in Blue Prism to reattempt the item again. So let me run this process again. So just what you can do, just keep yeah, breakpoint is already there, right? So just let it run. Yeah. What happened? Oh, I have not refreshed it. Let's run the process again, see what happened.
Current breakpoint is not there.
Breakpoint is not there. Oh, let me check again. Maybe I missed that. Oh, just a minute. Oh, what is happening? Yeah. Yeah, let me add the breakpoint. Yeah, I just missed that thing. So let's run this. Okay. So it reached here, first item. And did I deleted the item from there? It's already there. Oh, delete. Let me delete it, everything, so it will be clear to, otherwise it will be confusing. So just unlock this and mark exception and delete it. Yeah. Then let me run it again. Yeah, now it's there on breakpoint. Let's go in control room and see what happens. So here, okay, it got locked here. It's working on. Now let's go to this stage. Step, mark exception. It mark it exception, and at the same time, when it marks exception, if you see, the same item again got created with a pending state, because we have asked it to reattempt 2 times before marking it as exception. So the next item got created and the attempt is 2. So again it will go and number of so since there was 2 items, so it will run for 4 times and before coming to an end. So it will again generate like this. You can retry the item, and basically if the business has given you requirement to reattempt 3 times, then you can define 3 times, 2 times, then 2 times before coming to the end. Okay, I think reattempt should be clear to you. You got the point what I was trying to say? everyone? Hello? Okay, it's clear to you, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so pretty much see, this is everything, as part of the work queue. So first thing, how you will be adding to work queue, how you'll be getting the next item, how you'll be marking the item as complete, how you'll marking as exception, how you'll be getting the pending item, how you can manage the exception for any block. So let's say I was doing for a particular code block, there can be like add to queue block, there can be exception. In saving block, there can be exception. Here you got everything in Blue Prism from external file, how you'll be generating the output, how you'll be getting the data, how you'll be passing the data so here it is our main process. We also need to pass the data from main process to your objects. So input and output concept, how you'll be passing the data from your main process to object and getting back the output, how you'll be storing the output into your final collection and then saving everything and passing on to the Excel file. So this is a case. Just try on this, working on it, see how much you can proceed and how much you can achieve it, and then we will take it once we will conclude for the next session. So there are few more few more things that got remaining as part of the Blue Prism curriculum, which we will take in next class, and after that pretty much we'll just try to practice it with taking all those scenarios and live cases. Okay, so through doing this end-to-end thing will get clear to you again, and it will be a revision for everything. So you got my scenario, right? The scenario that I've discussed, what you wanted to do. So you have a Excel file uh, from where you can generate the generate the reference number and I mean generate reference number and total cost, and then you copy and paste in the next sheet with the particular output. So that's the thing, and just try to do it, see how efficiently you can achieve it. So you first will be getting everything here and then passing to the object, getting the data, saving into your main collection, and then saving it. So you got this point. I mean, it's clear to your scenario is clear to you.
Yes, Karan.
All right. So let's conclude for today. I think if you have any doubt for today, you can ask me and then we can go through it. Otherwise, let's conclude in the next session and we'll take it from there.
Thanks, Karan.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend and good day.
Thanks, Karan. We'll see you on Monday.
Sure. See you on Monday. All right. Bye.
He said yes and disconnect. Yeah, hello, can you hear me? Vinay. Vinay, can you please arrange a call with trainer? Yes, he just left. If possible, can you please arrange now? Just for 2 minutes, nothing else. Because I'm facing some problem with the practicing time. While practicing, there are so many issues is there because the The thing is, whatever he is showing me in Blue Prism, those options is not showing for me. Yes, I'm not getting those options.